So, people know what separations are, sim file. It's just, you get involved in something physical, you got a separation. You did something to somebody, you got a separation. There's a bunch of different reasons. But you end up going to Beaumont, but you sat in the hole for 6 months all alone, all by yourself. So now you go off to Beaumont. What's it like when you get there? Are you nervous? You wondering, hey, anybody going to get at me over me beefing with the MS-13? What happens?
Well, I found out something that was very interesting and actually helped me. I found out that if you're a pro se litigant, you can actually travel with your legal work. So I traveled from Gilmer to Beaumont on the bus with my legal work. And in my legal work was my lockup order, my shot, my P- all except for the PSI was the only thing they took out. I didn't care because I had my sentencing minutes from my sentence and when I pled guilty, I had my FD 302. I had all my stuff. So as soon as I get there, you know the protocol. They already know I got into something over there, so they want to see. We want to see paperwork. We want to see the lockup order. We want to see everything that deals with the shot itself. I produce that to the homies as soon as I get to the compound, and then I produce it to my brothers. So they're like, okay, you're good. Now we start introducing you to people. You know what I mean? Because if you wasn't, the thing with Beaumont was different than Big Sandy. Remember, when you get to Big Sandy, first of all, you get there, you go through R&D. Then depending on your status will depend, status meaning depending on what kind of case you have, or what kind of I can use the word jacket, me and you would understand, but what kind of file you have in different institutions. Depending on that will determine whether they put a captain's hold on you. So I've seen guys who are not hot, none of that, but they got a lot of stabbings. They go straight to the bucket, right off the bus. That's to determine whether the administration want to even deal with you on their compound, or are you a risk of stabbing someone or getting stabbed. So they got to do an investigation, see who you stabbed, what you're affiliated with, blah, 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 blah. You know all
The captain will come into you, be in the hole for 4 or 5 days. The captain
that.
will come say, hey, look, this is the deal, man. You're going out on my compound. Am I going to have an issue with you? No? Okay, good. I don't want you out here stabbing people. We understand each other. And then they'll let you out usually.
Exactly.
They ship you and you sit in the hole again for 4 or 5 months. And then you get.
Yes.
But now
Every,
you're in Beaumont after all this
mm-hmm.
stuff happens. What are you thinking in your mind when you go out there on the compound?
What kind of shit am I walking into? First of all, who's calling the shots from my car? Okay. First of all, who's beefing with who on this compound? Second of all, third of all, my cellie. Who are they putting me in the cell with? That's my very first thought. Mind you, I know what happened with Bosco back in Big Sandy. Who are they putting me in the cell with? I don't care if he homie. Is he mentally straight? Does he clean up? Is he a Viking? Is he a jacker? See, all of these things.
Hold on now. Educate the people. What is a Viking?
A Viking is a person who doesn't clean up. Like, present example, 4 o'clock count, they lock the doors, we're locked in until count. That could be an hour, hour and a half. If they screw up the count, 2 hours. Guy comes in at 3:30, which is recall from the basketball court. Goes right in the cell, they lock down, 3:45. Dude, I don't want to smell your body odor. I don't want to smell your musk. I don't want to smell you. So that causes a problem.
Pretty much a Viking is a dude that don't clean up after himself or whatever. Now, let's tell the people what a jacker is, which with you not being too derogatory.
Ooh, yes, I know.
Monitor within the YouTube perimeters and tell people what a jacker is.
Not to jeopardize monetization. Here's how it is. A person who ejaculates to a female while she is fully clothed. These are individuals who basically are sex offenders. They're very tapped in the head. They use the excuse that because I've been away or haven't touched a woman in set amount of time, this is acceptable behavior. They don't understand. We understand, and we deal with them severely, that is derogatory, nature. The same way you ejaculate to this female officer is the same way you ejaculate to my family in the visiting room. So those people, the answer. What happens to them when they get caught? Definitely in the hallway.
It depends on what car you're in, because some cars allow that.
Yes. That is true. You know what? I have had people slander, and it's because it's wrong. And it's the only reason why I say this. Everyone, people always, yes, the majority, and I do agree with you, are from DC. But not everyone from DC is on ass. I've seen videos you've done on that, and I thank you, and I agree with you, standing up for dudes from everywhere. Everybody from DC is not on ass. Everyone from DC is not a jacker. Okay. People have a tendency of labeling guys. I know a lot of DC guys who are stand up, morally stand up, principle wise. They made a mistake on the street. They ended up having to come into the feds because the DC, the District of Columbia, does not have a state jail. It used to be Lawton. They closed down Lawton and Aquan. Okay. So because they closed Lawton and Aquan, which was the city jails for the District of Columbia, they all come into the federal system now. These guys can be in there for something as simple as accidentally hitting someone with their car. You got guys in there ranging from anything, and they end up catching time while they're locked up. I know a guy who was there, I swear to God, for credit card fraud. He is in a penitentiary because he caught 2 stabbings while the first stabbing was while he was pre-trial on the credit card charge. When he went to his first jail in FCI, I think it was Estelle, he caught a stabbing. So he ends up in Big Sandy. I mean, not Big Sandy, in Beaumont. I'm sorry, correct myself. In Beaumont. Good dude. He's just a guy who is not going to let you treat him like a bitch. Pardon my language. He's not going to let you treat him like a piece of garbage. So he stabbed these guys who tried to abuse them. But everybody assumes that this guy's a dangerous dude from DC. He's a killer. He's here for this. No, the dude's here for credit card fraud. That's what he's here for. He has never had a drug case. He has never had a murder. He has never had a gun case. He's never even owned a gun. He tells dudes from DC that I don't even own a gun.
Went to prison young, right? And with a lot of time, or they just keep stacking it, and you don't end up making it out for a long time. Let me ask you this: what did you do with your life? I know earlier you talked about you were drunk. You were drunk when this MS-13 thing happened. I mean,
what did I do?
Partying? Are you in there hustling? What are you doing with your life?
The first 15 years of I would say straight, everything, the whole 15. The first from 90, I would say all the way to probably 2005. Get drunk, smoke weed, fight, gang stuff. Basically chaos. Took no trades. I had my high school diploma, but that's as far as I ever went, as far as up to that point. And it took a lot for me to finally sit down and say, I had one guy, old timer, and I never forget him. He worked in Unicor with me. And this guy had nearly 40 years in. He was from DC. And his case was the most effed up case I had ever seen because he was not there for murder. His brother committed a murder. The murder.
In Raybrook, bro. I know exactly what you're talking about. Tall dude, Muslim dude, had the beard. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And this man asked me one day, he was like, yo, what can you tell your kids you have ever really done in your life that will help them propel them to a more successful, more fulfilling life? What have you done? I couldn't answer that question. I know what I've done. It was nothing positive. It was nothing constructive. I know that everything I've done was destructive, negative, in every connotation you can name it. Yes, I wasn't a rapist. I wasn't a chomo. Doesn't mean what I was doing was not destructive. Until I learned to accept that, I was still stuck as an immature 16-year-old. It doesn't matter how old I was, age-wise. My mind was still of a 16-year-old because I had an excuse for everything. You understand what I mean?
Of course. That's deep, man. I'm glad you said that, man. I think that might hit a couple people. Maybe someone might want to just show that to someone in a short little clip. Your son's on the wrong path. Maybe they want to see that. And put this as part of that short path where this brother did all them years, man. You did what, 29 years total, right?
Total 29 4 months.
Let me
And
ask you, let me ask you this, Ronnie, because you've been
mhm,
you were in the system when it was this way all the way until it is pretty much presently,
mhm.
right? Pretty bad place to be, dangerous places. Things had changed progressively. I don't care if you're talking about the food, the violence, the racism, the way the police treated you, the way the prisoners are.
I've
I
never had a problem with racism.
mean, you've seen a lot of things change.
Yeah.
And
Ironically, I got along with everyone, black, white, Asians, even the Asians dealt with me. I had relationships because I treated everyone equally. I don't give a you're black, white, Chinese, Japanese, don't make a difference. You're a scumbag, you're a scumbag. If you're a good man, you're a good man. Simple.
let me ask you this, right? All the years you did, besides you getting stabbed, what's some of the most vicious things that you've seen in a federal prison?
Oh my God. Do do we have time? Okay, I'm gonna
Laughing. People are gonna be like, man, why is this guy always laughing? But go ahead, buddy.
can I explain to you? I just told my son and daughter-in-law this, which was the funniest thing today. I'm gonna start with the most insane thing that I've seen and that I did that I didn't think was possible. And that was fishing packs of cigarettes through the toilet in the shoe. Yes, I didn't think that was possible. What person came up with the idea that you can actually send a line tied up to something, which is actually sheets? We tear the sheets in strips. You take the strip and you tie it to 3 or 4 bars of slim soap. We used to get these Bob Barker this big, and this is what we had to wash our behinds with. Little Bob Barker. Okay. We would tie 3 or 4 of those Bob Barkers sideways so that the string comes like this and the Bob Barker's like this. Feed it into the toilet line. Keep flushing the toilet while the person 2 floors above you, mind you, we even did this in Terre Haute, the old Terre Haute, DS, which was on the very bottom. AD was the top 2 floors. They can get cigarettes. We couldn't. Okay.
They're on death row, right?
Yes, that's where they. Well, no, 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 no. That's the new Terre Haute. I was in the original Terre Haute. Okay. The new Terre Haute is the one that has the death house. The old Terre Haute, the death house was built outside of the old Terre Haute. The old Terre Haute in A block, you had 3 floors. It was 3 tiers. First tier, second tier, third tier. First tier, the one in the very bottom, you could not get access to. You can't even throw a line. You can't throw because it's literally a floor below. It's where all the DS guys, which is disciplinary segregation, administrative segregation, could get cigarettes. We couldn't get cigarettes. This was before 1995. I'm talking about 1992. Okay. The most amazing thing I seen was a guy say, yo, I'm gonna get us a pack of cigarettes. I'm like, dude, you freestyling right now. Meaning this day and age, they say the word cap. You're lying. How the F are you gonna get a pack of cigarettes? Watch. He took that line, fed it into the toilet. It went up the line while the guy upstairs is flushing. These two lines, the same way, they tangle. He then started pulling it while the other guy's line was connected to a pack of cigarettes, pulled it through the toilet, through the pipe, through the bottom where I was at, pulled the pack of cigarettes out, opened it up. The cigarettes is wrapped up in a piece of plastic that they got from the orderly, a plastic bag. And they cut it with a razor, send it right through there. The most amazing thing I've ever seen. Violence, it would be Lewisburg. The worst I ever seen was, I'm not going to go into name a group, but I can say group. It was the Mexican Mafia. Okay. I'm not going to go into names. They cut the dude's stomach open. It was another Mexican who went to go pick up some balloons, and they told him, don't get high. Do not get high. Because when you get high, you're not going to be able to shit the balloons out. Well, when he came back, apparently he got high before he went out on a visit, meaning he shot up heroin. When you shoot up heroin, with some people, they can't use the bathroom. Okay. So he tried to throw the balloons up. They wouldn't come up because I guess he had ate whatever he ate. So they were still processed down in his stomach, in his internal. I guess it was still processing through his large intestine, going into his, small intestine and then his anal cavity. Whatever the case was, they got tired of waiting and they cut his stomach open. Literally. From his bladder all the way up to the top of his sternum. Yeah. Knocked him out, tied him up, cut his stomach open, pulled the balloons out, and then the individual, which I'm not gonna say his name, looked at the other dude and was like, yo, go in there and sew him up.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you laugh about stuff like that?
Because it's so insane. It's something that you would read in a fictional novel and be like, there's no way in hell this is reality. That people will actually do this to another human being. Why would you cut somebody's stomach open? You did it. Cut the person's stomach open and then turn around and tell your homeboy, go in there and sew him up. It's good. That was
That
my wife.
wasn't Tito Rojas playing on there, was it?
No, oh no, that was Gilberto Santa Rosa.
I was messing with you. So now, you're in Beaumont,
Mhm.
you're doing your time over there, and, we talked about what you've seen in Lewisburg. What was one of the craziest things you ever seen in Beaumont? Because it's known as what? Bloody Beaumont.
Bloody Beaumont.
A place that nobody wants to go when you go to federal prison, right?
Yeah, my wife keeps calling. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. God, I gotta let her know I'm in. Sorry, Chad. This is what happens when your wife's a RN. Okay. Here we go. Let's go. All
All right,
right, let me know.
so,
You ready?
yeah, hold on.
Okay.
So what I was asking you about was, as far as, going to Beaumont, you've seen a lot of crazy things. What was one of the worst things you've seen happen at Beaumont? I mean, bloody.
Wow. I mean, there is so many. I remember over at the bocce ball court, I thought it was Big Sandy. It was Beaumont. I had to check because I talked to Supreme the other day. That's why I was wondering if you knew him because he was there on the compound. And I called him. I was like, yo, you remember dude, the white dude that got his head smashed in with the bocce ball? He was like, yeah. I was like, was that at Beaumont? He was like, yeah. I was like, okay. So I had to make sure that it wasn't Big Sandy. It wasn't Beaumont at the bocce ball court. The guy was, paperwork came back that he was a chomo. And they ended up basically smashing. Once that happened, it was like everything changed. The dynamic, because you had a couple of guys that were in the closet. Let me explain for your audience that don't know. You have informants that are, you have three different kind of snitches, okay? You have snitches that snitch on a case. You have snitches that didn't snitch on a case because they didn't have the opportunity to, so they work for SIS. Then you have snitches that basically snitch on other inmates to other inmates. Those are your three classifications. Did I cover them all?
Yeah.
So
your interview. You're not interviewing.
I wanted to make sure that this, because I literally sat down and watched dudes. Like I'm observing individuals, the different, they don't think that going, if I'm telling your homeboy about you going to cop some drugs, it's none of my business. You're not my homeboy. So why would I go tell him? You understand what I'm saying? And to me, that's snitching too. Guys be like, well, I ain't do no telling. Yes, you did, because you just went over there and told Bobby about what John was doing. That ain't none of your business. Use a snitch. And believe it or not, people like, a lot of people, even the ones that claim they didn't feel that way, respected my outlook on that. You understand? Because to me, again, remember, I was taught there is no gray area. It's black and white. You are or you aren't. You follow a mentor or you don't. It took me years to realize, dude, you can't put every situation does not fit everything. Does that make sense? We have this mentality. We have this way of saying, okay, this is the convict code. This is cookie cutter. This is going to apply to everything. No, it doesn't. I know of individuals in Beaumont who have lost their lives, and it turns out 2-3 weeks later, we get the paperwork back and it ain't the same dude. That has happened there. And you know of cases where that has happened, where guys got hit up and it ain't the same dude.
They hit my celly and they thought that he did something. I don't know if you remember in 2009, they hit my celly, Aaron Pike. I don't know if you were gone already, but
I left in 09.
It was 2000, 2008. He worked in education.
Yes, yes.
White dude's walking back. He's from Jamestown, New York. And
I got there the week Spider killed the dude. Gay guy in education. I wasn't there. I was in my unit. I swear to God, it wasn't 2 days when I got off the bus. And I'm like, what? I just got here. What do you mean there's a murder? Yeah, somebody just got killed in education. Who? Some gay guy. What? I just got off the bus. Literally. I mean, literally, when you get there, by the time you go through getting your stuff together, going to the yard, meeting you got to meet, whoever has to talk to you. Your first day goes by like lightning. The very next day, there's a murder.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it happens a lot. Unfortunately, it happens a lot. But now, listen, Ronnie, man, we're going to, before we get ready to go, right? I do want to
Mm-hmm.
ask you a couple other things because I
Yes.
know that you turn your life around. You've been home a few years, I think. You got your own business. Tell the people what you're doing with your life.
Right now, I'm in the process of creating a nonprofit to try to outreach to youths out there that are at risk and basically know the life that they're living is going to end them up someplace they don't want to go. But these kids have this I don't care mentality until it happens to them. And they don't understand that no, it's not 2 or 3 years you're looking at. My approach and how I'm going to approach things is I'm not going to sit here and play the scare straight with these kids. I'm going to let them read the United States Sentencing Guidelines so that they understand that these numbers you're reading at, when you get done adding them up, yeah, you're going to start with 120. That's 10 years. So we're going to start at a mandatory minimum of 120. And now we're going to work our way up to an easy 360. Because that's easy to go from 120 to 360. You know that. Very easy.
PSR, you're going from 120 to 360 in
Yes.
many cases. But what are you
And
doing with your life right now, though? I know you got a business.
yes, I'm getting ready to, I'm launching several products. One of them, I'm getting ready to start actually a YouTube channel called Belly of the Beast. And it's already up. I have to start filming content. My outlook is not, I'm going to be honest with you, it's not all about the hustle. I don't chase the dollar no more, Chad. I'm 50 years old. I'll be 51 in November. I have kids. I have a granddaughter. I'm extremely happy. I'm content with my life. But what would make my life fulfilling even more is being able to reach kids out there who was as out of control as I was. Okay. I had no problem sticking a barrel of a gun into someone's mouth. Okay. And taking everything they had on them. No problems with that. That's an issue. That is a severe problem. Okay. That is something that has to be addressed. The level of violence that is going on right now in my home city, in New York City, is so out of control. And they're all kids 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. These kids don't realize they're about to lose their entire lives. And forget about scaring them with this is how much time you're looking at. They don't know what they're about to go through. They have no idea what it is to sit up waiting to get designated, thinking you're getting designated, and then they turn around the next day. Or while you're on the bus, in transit, or the plane, Con Air, they change your designation. You think you're going to Florida, now you're going to California. What? These kids don't understand what Grand Prairie is. They don't understand what Grand Prairie do. They don't understand where Grand Prairie will end you up in Alaska somewhere. They don't care. It's all based on points, and it's based on points in which you discarded. These kids don't even understand that juvenile offenses are counted as points when they're doing your designation computation. They don't understand that. They don't understand that where you're ending up. Okay, so I just got a gun charge. Don't mean you ain't going to Big Sandy, my dude. That don't mean you ain't going to Beaumont. You went in on 5 years and now you're dead. You understand?
That's the reality, man. You go in there with 5 years and end up dead. You've seen things that I'm sure affected you. And I'm going to touch on something before we get ready to close, right? Some people, if they watch the videos all the way through, they're probably like, man, why is this dude laughing or smiling? Sometimes that's a defense mechanism from the things that you've seen, or you're uncomfortable still talking about it. You want to come across as comfortable, but you're uncomfortable because you've seen some things. You've experienced things that most people don't. Most people should never have to see someone get stabbed, or most people shouldn't be stabbed in their life 23 times
You know
overnight.
why I smile? You know why I laugh? You know why I smile and I laugh? To be honest with you, with your viewers, what I have seen, the amount of death, the amount of unnecessary, extreme violence In my mind, even though I've seen it, it's not even real. It's like, bro, who lives this way? And why would you choose to live this way? You understand? It's a world in which I would never go back to. If I was ever to end up incarcerated, God forbid, it would be to defend my family, my children, and that's a state case. So, but feds, never, never. That is, the feds is just insanity. And I smile because so much has happened in a short period of time in my life that I'm blessed. I'm blessed. In 4 years, I've achieved almost everything I wanted, except for reaching out and reaching those kids and keeping them from going through the hell that I went through. I went through the yelling, the angry, talking to kids. Yo, you don't know what the F you looking at. You don't realize shit, all that. They're not trying to hear that shit. They grow up around that. These kids, this day and age, they growing around bodies and shootings. They're growing up around this. This is nothing to them. They going down to what? Listen, these kids in New York is walking down the block and they homie head getting blown right off next to them. You're not going to scream and try to scare straight these kids that are already desensitized to violence. You're not going to reach them that way. The only way you're going to reach them is by hammering in, you're going to prison for 150 years for BS. Understand this, for BS. You don't have to kill nobody to get a life sentence. They don't understand that.
I mean, hey, you don't have to kill anybody. So look, Ronnie, I'm going to get ready to close the show, right?
Yes,
but I
sir.
definitely appreciate you coming on, man. And, you going to prison at such a young age and coming home, much older and seeing the things that you've seen. Maybe it will resonate. Maybe someone will say, you know what? I don't want to live that life. I don't want to have Ronnie's life. I mean, your life's better now. I know you got a couple things going on, got your own company going. And listen, man, I definitely appreciate you. Hope you keep staying on the same track, because guess what?
I will.
The other option's 100 times worse. But again,
absolutely.
Coming on, brother. Anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah, I just want to reach out to the kids out there and just basically tell them, listen, there are options. Right now, you guys have the largest repository of information in the world in your pocket. There are a million other options to make money, to make your self-esteem feel good, to make your family proud of you. I, as one, am going to tell you straight up, that life of a gangster is absolute bullshit. I'm hoping you don't get demonetized, but I'm telling you guys, it is a fantasy. It is not real until you are about to lose your life or your freedom for the rest of your life. Those of you that's all I can say on that.
Thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
If you like what we're doing, you already know. Hit that like,
Absolutely.
hit that subscribe button. With respect, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, we're out.